Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. Hey, Lou.
How we doing today?
Good. How's things?
Very good. I like how we're moving around the house. Getting a tour of the house while we're doing this.
Well, just so people know, the signal quality is not the same everywhere, so we just keep looking for better signal quality.
Yeah.
Anyway, so today we're going to be talking about chapter 12 again, and this is a very important part of the Gita. There are a few, and this refers to the 35 qualities of a self-realized master, or as the Gita says, of a devotee. So there's a little bit of confusion sometimes when people say a devotee, because when I learned it, I thought that it meant that anybody who's devoted, like a saint or a person that goes up to study, wears orange clothes, has these qualities. What I've subsequently learned is that these are the qualities of a person who reaches self-realization, and anybody as they get to that. So it's a little confusing, but there's 35 qualities that a self-realized person starts to show or shows. Those qualities are evident in any self-realized person, whether it be Jesus Christ or Muhammad or Buddha or any one of many self-realized masters show these qualities within them. So what does that mean? Imagine I have grandchildren, and I know specifically when they eat, some of them can eat any amount of chocolate and nothing happens to them. There's a couple of them that even the smallest bite of chocolate makes them so hyper, their whole personality changes. They're bouncing off the walls and the ceiling. And you think to yourself, look at what this little bit of chocolate is doing to this kid. So we know that the same thing happens to us, to some of us, when we drink, say, strong coffee. Your mouth starts talking very fast. You start to become very active with the coffee. And we know characteristically that when some people drink too much alcohol and they get drunk, how they start behaving. Now, keep in mind, this I'm getting to a certain point here. Just bear with me. This is an important point for you to understand. When that person who is drunk, or the kid that has eaten chocolate, or somebody that's had coffee, starts to show a certain personality, a certain way of behaving, a certain way of talking, a certain way of thinking, you say, well, this is not my grandson. This is not really him, right? We know that somebody who's drunk, a friend of yours, you say, this is not the real friend that I have. He's just doing that because he's drunk.
Right.
Now, imagine that the personality that you are showing today is not the real you, that it is colored, not because of alcohol or chocolate or coffee or anything like that, but because of your emotions. Now, bear with me. You've got desires. Those desires produce an anxiety to get what it desires. It produces jealousy to somebody else that has it. It produces envy, even after you get those things that you desire, towards those that have more than you. It produces hatred, anger, all these things, and your behavior changes. So if you didn't have those desires, you didn't have these emotions, it's like eliminating alcohol, chocolate, all those contaminants. Now, these emotions, once removed, from a self-realized person like a master, that person starts to show qualities because there's no contaminants, no emotions.
Yep.
So that's what happens when you see a self-realized person. They starts to show all these 35 qualities. So you say, that's well and good. That's for a master who's up in the Himalayas. Well, how does that help me? How it helps you is if you focus on these 35 qualities and you say, one of these hits home to me, one of these, two of these, if you focus on that, then they grow from there. They grow from one or two qualities to other qualities. So, by the way, we've done this before. We've actually, if you go to the YouTube section, session 16, 17, 18, 19, we started to do this with the 35 qualities of a bhakta. And in Facebook too, I think it was like episode 6, 7, 8, 9. Just check, it'll say there. it'll say there 35 qualities of a devotee. So I'm not going to go into it in detail today, but just remember that your inner personality is your true dharma. You remember we said that
Yeah.
dharma is the real quality, like dharma is of sugar is sweetness. So sugar can come in the form of a sugar cube, or it can come in crystalline form, or crystals, or large pieces, or brown or white. But really the real quality of dharma of sugar is sweetness. So these 35 qualities are your own inner dharma. If you can start to tweeze out one quality, from that one quality it gets to more. So just keep that in mind. So the first and focus, as we're talking about, I can go through all the 35 qualities, but I'd rather just go through one at a time.
Yep.
But the two qualities that really struck home to me were one who does not agitate the world, one by whom the world is not agitated, and one who does not allow the world to agitate him. Those two really struck home for me, and we will talk about that. And in those earlier sessions, I gave you some personal examples of what happened with me, how it changed me, and so on. So please do go back if you want to. I don't want to waste time going over the same thing again. So the
Mhm.
first quality, very quickly, is hate no being. It doesn't say hate no
Person.
human being.
Yeah.
It says any animal, insect, bird, or human being. Hate no being. It doesn't say love everybody, because if you were to say to somebody, do you love everybody? Yeah, I love everybody. But if you were to say, do you hate anybody? Right away, some name may come to your mind. Say,
Mm.
yeah, I don't really hate him, but I don't like him too much. And that happens with everybody. There's somebody that you either hate or strongly feel a dislike towards. So this is a nice way for Krishna to ask, do you hate no being? Not love everybody, but hate no being. Why do you dislike somebody or not like them as much? Because they don't cater to your desires, your wishes. Somebody who's always kowtowing to you and saying fine, yes to everything you do, you say, I like that person. Or somebody who looks different than you. Those are the qualities that make you feel, I don't like this person. He doesn't look like me, he doesn't talk like me, he doesn't come from the same background as me, or he doesn't always agree with what I have to say. So I don't like him. Whereas the true you, or a self realized master, loves everybody, doesn't dislike anybody. Why? Because he has no desires for anybody to cater to. And it
Right.
doesn't matter to him whether somebody looks like him or not, because he sees the divinity in all beings. So be free from self centeredness. If you're self centered, you're thinking more about yourself all the time. And as a result, you start to dislike other people. The more self centered a person is, the more people he dislikes, because everything revolves around him. And nobody can cater to every aspect of a self centered person. Second quality is friendship and compassion towards all beings. How does a person become friendly? Because if he has no desires within himself, then he's cheerful inside. He's happy because he's not unhappy about anything. He loves all animals, nature, trees. He's constantly happy. He hates nobody. Everybody is his friend. All beings are his friends. He wants the best for everybody, not just for selfish reasons, but really truly for themselves. Inside, there are no desires. He has compassion towards others. And because he has these desires inside, he's cheerful inside. He's not morose. There's no hatred towards others, no selfishness, no preferences of any kind. Third quality is compassion. Compassion is very different from pity. In pity, what happens is you look at somebody who is crippled, lying on the floor on the sidewalk in Mumbai, and he's begging and he's starving, and you say, oh, I feel guilty that I have so much and this person doesn't. To make my own feeling of guilt and hurt go away, I say, here, take some money. and I give it to him and I hope that he's feeling better. What I'm trying to do is to reduce my own guilt and my own discomfort. Compassion, on the other hand, is a deep longing to remove pain and suffering from another person, not just to make myself feel better, but because truly I feel one with the other. And while being compassionate towards the other person, it is important not to judge him. For you to say, well, he brought this on himself, he did this. Don't think that. You're just one with him. Whatever his karma was, whatever he did that brought him to this, you feel one with him, and not to make yourself feel better. So that's the third quality. The fourth quality is nirmama and nirahankar. Means nothing. Nirmama, mama is mine, not mine, no attachment, no possessions. No, sorry. You can have possessions, but you cannot have possessiveness towards your possessions. So no mindness, no attachment to your possessions, and no, I did this, I did this. This I-ness. There are three things with I that we should consider. One is I am supreme, meaning I am the greatest. Nobody else is like me. That gives you an ego to say I'm better than other people. The second one is I alone exist, nobody else. If I'm on the road and I'm driving and there's people going, you get out of my way, get out of my way. That's because you feel that the road is yours to have. I alone exist, nobody else. Everybody else should be out of the street. When you don't allow for somebody else to also share in the world with you. And the last is, I am the doer. So these are the three qualities of I. I am the doer, somebody who invents something new, a new piece of software, a computer, a new car. He thinks, oh, I'm so great, I invented this. What he doesn't realize is that even for the basic, he may have changed the design, the shape, or the look of the car, but who made the first car? Was it Henry Ford, Lou? I don't know.
Don't know. Probably.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think Henry Ford was the first one that worked with Edison, Thomas Edison,
Yeah.
and came out with the first car. And so, had it not been for Henry Ford or whoever was the first inventor of a car, these cars wouldn't have been existing. Now, all you did was change it, make the shape better, maybe
Right.
came up with an electrical engine instead of a gas-powered engine, but all of that was a lot easier because Henry Ford or somebody had already created the car. Had it not been for that, would you have been able to do the whole car on your own? So you have to give credit to whoever came. Not I am the doer, I am supreme, I alone exist. So that's the fourth quality. The fifth quality is the nirahankar, which is what we just said. Sorry. Fourth and fifth are tied together, no mindness and no I. And the sixth quality is balanced in pleasure and pain. So whether he's getting things happening, the self-realized master, whether good things are happening to him or not such good things are happening to him, he's balanced. Otherwise, the rest of us on earth, what do? When something goes our way, we jump up and down in joy. Oh, wonderful, you're in a good mood. Something goes, the next minute goes wrong, you're morose, you're sad,
Right.
you're angry. And a self-realized person, because he has no desires, he doesn't care one way or the other, he doesn't jump up and down, and he doesn't get morose. And we can fashion ourselves to start growing towards that point. So I'm hoping to I think we've done about 15 minutes so far, hoping to get to at
Yes.
least 14.
Oh.
So seventh quality is forgiveness. Usually what happens is when something goes wrong, you want revenge. You say, he did this to me. You want to punish the other person. You have anger because he or she did something against your wishes. You have hatred or dislike towards that person, and it eats away inside you, right? Deepak Chopra, I heard him talk once, and Deepak Chopra says there's a difference between animals such as dogs and human beings. Something happens to you, somebody did something, and he hit the dog at the same time and you at the same time. You see him 5 years later, and you say, I'm going to get this person. The dog sees him 5 years later also. The difference is that for 5 years, this person, what he did to you has been eating away with you. The dog goes, bites him, and moves away. And for 5 years, he hadn't given that any thought.
Yep.
So it eats away at you, this revenge, this lack of forgiveness. So forgiveness really comes from understanding that the other person is acting according to his vasanas. As Gautam Jain used to say, he's a helpless victim of his own vasanas. So he cannot control what he's doing. So, for instance, if somebody peed on me,
Mm-hmm.
I'd be upset. So, what are you doing? I'd be mad. I'd be wanting to punch him in the face.
Sure.
However, if I'm holding a baby in my hands and he or she starts peeing and doesn't have a diaper on, I might smile and laugh and say, oh, look what happened. I got to go change my clothes. The difference being that I know that the baby knew no better when without a diaper, he peed and the pee came on me. Whereas I say the adult should have known better. If we start to recognize that all adults act when they do something are acting according to their vasanas, they're helpless in whether or not they pursue it. It makes it a lot easier to understand. Don't let your own desires come in the way. Your desires that things should be a certain way. Let understanding come there so you understand how you feel. And once you do that, you act a certain way. Do your obligatory duties, what you should be doing, not because you like somebody or don't like somebody, and learn to forgive because you say they're doing it because they know not. Like Christ, when he was being crucified, said, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
Know not what they do is exactly what he was also saying. The eighth quality is santushta, which means completely satisfied, always content, a positive attitude towards everything. Everybody has something or other that he doesn't have. Everyone, nobody has everything. So you look at a glass and you say, is this half of it is full, half of it is empty? The person that says this glass is half full, it has a more positive outlook. So focus on what you have, not what you don't have. Be happy that you're a human being and not one of these animals that is going to be led to the slaughterhouse
Right.
or that is tied to a yoke and made to pull a plow through the fields that you're always suffering from. So, in the eighth quality, a complete satisfaction and contentment is what is experienced by the self realized masters. So you too can practice this. If this is the quality that appeals to you, then focus on being perfectly content. Always look at your life and look at the half full part of it, not the half empty. And the test is, are you happy with your present state? You know, you always say, if I got this, I'll be happy, which
Right.
means you're not happy right now. If I got that, then I'd be happy. And the truth is, my friend, that no matter what you get, you'll always say, if I get something else, I'll be happy. So
Right.
focus on your present state, learn to look at what you have and be happy with that, and you'll focus more towards being completely content. So, what is the cure for this? How do we do it? We do it by maybe returning to small pleasures, being with neighbors, being with families. This COVID, this whole thing with Corona, has helped a lot of us to spend more time with our family and to learn these small pleasures. Because before, our life was three jobs, spouse working three jobs, children with, it's a long story. But being with this COVID, more people have learned, and this may be nature's way of forcing us to do that, that you're forced to spend time with your inner core family and find contentment in what you do. So do what you ought to do, not what you like to do. Don't worry about what am I getting out of it. That doesn't help. You just do it because you ought to do it. And satisfy your mind, as the scriptures say, with the prasad that comes out of it. Prasad, I've explained this before, that when you go to a temple and you offer something, the priest offers it to the gods, and then gives you back a little bit of what you gave, and that is considered prasad. So whatever you do that you ought to be doing, whatever the result is, take that result as prasad. You don't look at it and say, what is this? This is not what I gave. This apple is a little moldy. This is little. No, you just take it and you say, this is the offering, and you eat it. He who does what he ought to do without depending on the fruit, says the Gita, is a sannyasi. So, next quality, ninth quality, is to be a yogi. A self-realized master is a yogi. Now, yogi doesn't mean that he can sit cross-legged for hours. That's a different kind of yoga. Yog comes from the Sanskrit word yuj, which means to unite. The English word yoke comes from that, where the yoke is tying together the two oxen to the bullock cart. And yoke means that the yogi is somebody who is united now with his inner self. So that's where the word religion comes from. Gautam Jain explained to us that religion, means again, religion comes from this Latin word ligate. When we were in medical school, we had to ligate the arteries, tie the arteries. So ligation means tying up. Religion means to tie. Religion means to retie back to the Atman within you.
Interesting.
Yeah, yogi. So the 10th quality is self-controlled. This quality means that this self-realized master has complete control, self-control over his 5 sense organs, the 5 organs of action, and his mind. All those 3 sense organs, organs of action, and the mind. If you don't know what the sense organs or the organs of action are, we talked about it in probably our first or second session. And such a self-realized master is totally self-controlled with all of these things, which means that he's not distracted, not disturbed by his desires. The 11th quality is having firm conviction. Firm conviction, no doubt in his mind. Firm conviction of what? That he, she is Brahman. Aham Brahmasmi. I am Brahman. Once that self-realized master is convinced that he is Brahman, everything else falls apart. So you have to, this is an easy one to do, to keep reminding yourself again and again, I am Brahman. I'm not what I appear to be when I look in the mirror. I'm not this body. I'm not this mind. I'm not this intellect. I am pure Brahman. The 12th quality, with mind and intellect dedicated to me. His mind and intellect is all in Brahman, a self-realized master. So that, I think, is too difficult a quality for most of us who are in this present world to adhere to, because so many things happen. We live in a world where we're distracted with telephone calls, visitors, business, TV, etc. And that's why masters or aspiring masters go away to the mountains, whether it be Moses or Jesus. 13 years Jesus was missing. Buddha was gone for 13 years. Somehow 12, 13, 14 are the key years. I think Moses too went away for 12 years.
Interesting.
Yeah, and Christ was missing for 13 years. Buddha was away for 12, 13 years. So they can put their minds and intellect completely on Brahman. It's hard for you and me to do it.
Yeah.
Just 2 more, friends, and then we'll stop. 13th quality, but this is the one, these are the 2 that I like most. By whom the world is not agitated. And let's talk about the 14th. Who is not agitated by the world? So, by whom the world is not agitated. A person who has a lot of desires. And once I heard this was going back many, many, many years ago, I tried very hard not to agitate the world with my own wishes. I want things this way. I want things that way. I want this guy not to be on the highway in front of me. I don't want this I don't want this, I want this. That agitates the world. The world says, I don't like this guy. You've all come across people who've
Yeah.
always got, I changed this. People come into your home, they change this, change. Why don't you put this over here? Why don't you move this there? Turn the music down, turn the lights up,
Right.
and that's disturbing to people when people like that are around you. Whereas a person that does not agitate the world is considered a self-realized master. He just comes, he's very peaceful, doesn't make any demands on you. Everybody says, I like having this guy here, never makes any demands. The world is not agitated by him. Then the next quality is one who is not agitated by the world. If you go in, it's the same thing, but the reverse.
Right.
You go in, you say, I don't like the music here. It's too loud. I don't like the lighting here. It's too bright. I don't like this thing being here. You're being agitated by the world. Whereas a self-realized master or somebody who's aspiring to that, even if you're in first grade or kindergarten, you say, whatever it is, it is. I'm only going to be here a short while, then I leave. Just ignore the music, ignore the lights, ignore this, whatever it is that's disturbing you, and it'll pass. So that's that. So, friends, we've
I
done.
love those two too.
Sorry?
I love those two too. I think
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
the place to start, actually.
Well, there's a few more, and
Yep.
to everybody his own. Those are the two I like. I'm glad you like the same, Lou. There are a few others, and I think we talked about them when we talked about this last time. What, a year ago was it, Lou?
Just about, yeah.
Yeah. So please do go back and listen to those because it's a lot more in detail than I did today. I did 14 qualities in one session. And how long has it been, Lou?
26 minutes.
Oh, okay. So, friends, thank you. And we will continue with this next time. Hope you send your comments and your thoughts to us. And we'll
And if
see
you
you
don't
again.
want to, if you are Facebook Live, Facebook videos don't work for you so much, you can take them in your car with you. We have audio only podcasts on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, all the places you can get your podcasts. So check those out too.